The girl inadvertently found that her ex, who had been thinking about her day and night for 4 years, had appeared in front of her. Unlike Zhuan, who was young and cute in the school days, now she had become mature and indifferent, and Zhao Ru mustered up the courage to walk towards Zhuan, but Zhuan didn't notice her at all. The two passed each other like this, but years of tearing still made her look back, but she saw a yellow-haired girl jump into Zhuan arms, and they met again after 4 years. Zhuan had a new girlfriend, and Zhao Ru's heart was completely broken. 4 years ago, the cold and handsome Zhuan transferred to the school where Zhao Ru was located. No girl who had seen him was not moved by him, except Zhao Ru. Zhao Ru's parents died young, and he was the poorest student in this aristocratic school. In order to save money, he never went to the cafeteria, and every day he reduced the expired rice balls and asked the teacher to say that he was losing weight. It was such a poor and strong girl who successfully attracted the attention of the talented only child Zhuan. He stared directly at Zhao Ru, and there was a meaningful smile on the corner of his mouth. Zhao Ru thought that this man was quite handsome, but unfortunately there was something wrong with his brain. At the bus stop yesterday, Zhuan fell in love with him at first sight. At this moment, a love instrument floated in the sky above the school. A software called Love Spirit quickly became popular. When Juan stepped into the circle, Jumi's Love Zero was immediately knocked. Just as the students were envious of Jumi, Juan passed by him directly without even glancing at him until he left. Then Doju sent a message to Jumi asking him to meet after class, and he had a gift for him. But Jumi was very disgusted with Doju and he didn't come out of the bathroom with confidence until he confirmed that he had left. But what Jumi didn't know was that the developer of Love Zero actually got 9, and it was a gift specially developed for him. During class, Zhuan was chatting with his good brother Hui Yang, when he suddenly heard someone shouting Zhao jump on the playground. The two turned around and found a boy delivering snacks to Zhao jump. Zhuan noticed Hui Yang's focused and infatuated eyes and instantly realized that Hui Yang also likes Zhao jump. After school, Zhuan asked the driver to follow Zhao jump and use a pattern. Hui Yang said no, but Zhuan already knew it, and the two followed Zhao jump to his residence. Hui Yang confessed everything. In fact, Zhao jump has a boyfriend, which is the boy he saw during class today, so he has always kept this love in his heart. But Zhuan who just came back from abroad, is very open-minded. Even if he has a boyfriend, this does not mean that he likes that boy. In the evening, Zhao Ru went to watch TV with his aunt, but he suddenly received a message from his boyfriend. He asked Zhao Ru to go to an internet cafe tomorrow, and Zhao Ru had part-time jobs and cram school tomorrow, so he didn't have time to play at all. But her boyfriend didn't understand Zhao Ru, and even asked Zhao Ru to skip class to accompany him. Zhou wanted to go home directly, but suddenly turned around and sat on a chair. It turned out that Zhao Ru's boyfriend was looking for him everywhere, and Yu took big steps as usual, and then Zhuan took him to a secret alley. He didn't expect Zhuan to make such a request to Zhao Ru, who had just known each other for 2 days. He was so annoying, and Zhao Ru turned around and left. Showing off, he grabbed Zhao Ru and asked him where he was going, and Zhao Ru said he was going to work, like showing off that rich people the next day after school. Showing off was very disappointed, although his family was very rich, but he hated his family. Zhao said that he had no parents, so he would work to make money by himself, and for a time both of them were silent. At this time Zhao Ru proposed to kiss Zhao Ru, who was familiar with this kind of Zhao Ru's face. Zhao Ru pushed it away, saying that if he let his boyfriend know, he would beat him up, but he didn't care about showing off, just hit him. After that, he kissed Zhao Ru. In the evening, Zhao Ru hurried back to the store to help. Aunt said with a straight face that Zhao Ru was late for the 3 hours that the store earned 90,000 won less. Zhao Ru quickly apologized and said whether he would come over the weekend. The aggressive parrot took out Zhao Qian's mother's debt record and angrily accused Zhao Qiao. On the other side, Zhuan came home and happened to meet Hui Yang. Hui Yang was the son of Zhuan Ao's nanny and his childhood sweetheart's good brother. But at this moment he didn't know how to face Hui Yang, because he just kissed the girl Hui Yang had a crush on today. In the end, Zhuan confessed, but Hui Yang turned away without saying anything. When he went to school the next day, Zhao Ru always avoided Zhuan on purpose. After the bell rang, he hurried to the music classroom, but was blocked by Zhuan in the stairwell. Zhuan wanted his phone number, but Zhao Ru ran away shyly. While Zhuan was secretly happy because he had just touched his hand, at the same time, Zhuan silently endured the whole picture, because he had been prepared to pay the price. Fortunately, Hui Yang arrived in time, but Zhuan asked him not to interfere in this matter. He watched his good brother being beaten and not fighting back, but Huiyang couldn't hold back in the end. At the same time, Xiaoru also saw the video of his boyfriend running away Zhuano. He took the initiative to find a job and took out the mobile phone that opened the love spirit in advance. What surprised him all the time was that he did not ring the love spirit of Xiaoru. He once thought that he had been in love with Xiaoru all the time. It turned out that what he mistakenly thought he liked was just the familiarity between good friends. The next day at school, his classmates began to talk about Xiaoru's indiscretions behind his back. Cousin Jiamei angrily dropped Xiaoru's mobile phone. He thought that only as a trainee could he be worthy of the school grass Juana, and the gray-headed Xiaoru was not qualified to take away the person he liked. The two soon scuffled together, and finally the head teacher arrived in time and pulled them away. After returning to the classroom, the classmates in the class also talked a lot about Xiaoru, and even his best friend turned a blind eye to him and put on headphones on purpose. Xiaoru was very aggrieved, and at this time Zhuan appeared in time and took his hand in front of everyone and left. Unexpectedly, Xiaoru asked if Zhuan photo was sent by him, and Zhuan was very disappointed. Xiaoru turned on his phone and found that his love zero had not been rang, which meant that Zhuan did not like him, and that the article was just a joke. Zhuan dared to keep Xiaoru, explaining that he did not open the love spirit. He took Xiaoru to the empty sports room, ready to use software to prove his sincerity, but he did not know that his childhood sweetheart Huiyang was by his side. Huiyang has always been secretly in love with Zhao Qiu, and he also wants to know who Zhao Qiu likes. Obviously, Zhao Qiu likes Zhuanao, and then Zhuanao found that Huiyang was also there. Zhuanao was afraid that his brother would be sad and hurriedly chased after him, while Huiyang endured the heartache and generously blessed Zhuanao. At lunch, Zhuanao gave his mobile phone to Jiamei, and the narcissistic Jiamei thought that Zhuanao liked him, so he couldn't listen and said that he didn't do it. This angry Jiamei wanted to scold. Zhuanao forced Zhao Qiu to a corner, and Zhao Qiu thought he wanted to kiss again, so he pushed it away and ran away. After Xiaoru broke up with his boyfriend, his best friend was very happy. He had been secretly in love with him, but now he finally had a chance, but he had always been disgusted with him. He also instructed the waiter to take a bottle of water, but Zhuan suddenly got angry. The assistant felt inexplicable, and because of the authority of the young master, he had to go get the water by himself. When Zhao jumped off work, he found that Zhuan had been waiting for him. He was like a clingy puppy, following Xiaoru all the way. He wanted to ring Xiaoru's love spirit in person and face his sincerity, but Xiaoru's attitude was cold. But he didn't open his love spirit and needed to be wronged. Very unhappy. Who can stand the handsome guy being coquettish? And finally, Xiaoru compromised. The bell rang at the same time, showing off happily like a fool, and the person he likes also happens to like you. It's really a very happy thing. Showing off can't help but take pictures to keep a souvenir. After the two officially dated, they showed off and completely released themselves. Not only did they take pictures of their abs in class, but they also kept holding hands after school. Zhuan couldn't help but feel jealous. As the two walked and chatted, they accidentally mentioned Zhuan friends and friends. Zhuan suddenly studied Xiaoru, and he was sticky and close to Xiaoru. When he saw Xiaoru chasing the stars, he was immersed in the boundless Xingfuli. Zhuan couldn't wait to rush to school, just to see Xiaoru earlier. The next morning, Huang, who was riding a bicycle to school, saw Xiaoru in front of him, so he immediately came to the brakes, but he fell to the ground with his car and his palm injured. He turned on the love bell, and his heart was immediately lost. Xiao jumped in the corridor of the school and found that his love spirit was knocked. He looked around happily and was sure that Zhuan was nearby, so he pushed open the door of the infirmary, but unexpectedly found that the person who knocked on his love spirit would be responsible. At the same time, Zhuan was also coming here. The next day when he went to school, the head teacher actually handed Zhao a meal card, which made him both surprised and happy. He could finally go to the cafeteria for lunch at lunchtime. But when he knew Jiomi, he showed a nosy expression. Xiaoru saw his girlfriend who was laughing, but he deliberately ignored him. Xiaoru had to silently find a seat to sit down, and did not forget to say hello to Daju. At this moment, Zhuan sat next to Xiaoru, and everyone's eyes were immediately attracted. Zhuan took care of Xiaoru meticulously, but the more he treated himself like this, the more burdened Xiaoru felt. After returning home in the evening, Xiaoru unexpectedly learned from his cousin that his lunch fee was all ostentatious, and Xiaoru suddenly collapsed. The love he wanted was equal, but Zuo's silent efforts made him very humble. The next day, Zuo helped Xiaoru pay the lunch fee all over the school, and the classmates laughed behind his back that Xiaoru was a parasite. and he was on the school grass. Xuan Ao didn't even have to worry about lunch. Zhu Ao couldn't tolerate others slandering his beloved girl like this, so he was furious and boofed when he heard it. When he learned the truth, he found Jumi, who was walking the rumor in anger. But Jumi said that he was all for the sake of being proud, so that he could recognize the gap between Zhao Ru and himself. He knew that what Jumei liked was her family, and Jumei, who had been exposed to the truth, was unwilling to leave. It just so happened that Xiao Ru came to show off at this time, and took the initiative to apologize to him, saying that he should not have secretly paid for his food. Xiao Ru knew that Xuan Ao just wanted to protect himself from being hurt by Super Gadar. After this incident, their relationship became even stronger. 39 South, 39 South, 11 South. When he returned home at night, Xiao Ru found that Jumei was looking for revenge. Xuan Ao snatched the phone, and Jumei was furious and moved directly, just as Zhao Ru wanted to fight back. He was caught by his aunt, who asked Zhao. He looked up and saw Xuan Ao. Xuan Ao's appearance instantly dispelled the haze in Zhao Ru's heart. During the holidays, they went to Jeju Island for a school trip together. Zhao Ju wanted to go back to his room to rest at night, but when he saw his classmates silently retreating to the room to rest after the dinner, he was not long awakened by the smoke. After the students fell asleep, the candle accidentally lit the quilt, and everyone was immediately frightened and fled everywhere. Seeing this scene, Zhao Ju's memory was instantly pulled back to when he was 9 years old. His father and mother took him to burn charcoal to commit suicide, and the young himself was choked awake by the smoke before escaping. That terrifying memory made Xiao Ju lose his mind, and he frantically slapped on the window until he could breathe fresh air. The teachers and classmates who came were frightened by this scene, and Xiao Ju immediately escaped from the place where he was suffocating. He happened to meet Juan Ao, and he threw himself into Juan Ao's arms in fear to find security. Juan Ao rode his scooter and took Juan Jump to the beach to pick him up until the next morning. They watched the sunrise together. Then Juan Ao rode his bike and took Juan Jump on the way back. Xiao Ru was leaning on the back of his beloved and he felt extremely happy at this moment, but unexpectedly an accident happened at this time. Xiao Ru struggled to look at Xuan Ao and found that his face was covered in injuries. He had passed out, and he was also in a trance. The moment Xiao Ru stretched out his hand, bits and pieces of happiness with Juan Ao appeared in his mind. And it was his appearance that filled his dark days with color. Zuo Xin Zhao Ru's body was fine, just some skin bruises, but Juan Ao was not so lucky. After he was picked up by his parents from the hospital with a broken bone, Zhao Ru could no longer contact him, and even the school had been taking leave from class. The next second, he found Zhao Ru standing outside the classroom door. He comforted Zhao Ru not to worry about Juan Ao and told him the address of Juan Ao's house. So Zhao Ru went to Juan Ao's house every night to wait for him stupidly, and would also go to the rooftop where they often met. But Juan Ao never replied to his message. This night, Hui Young took advantage of Juan Ao's parents not at home, and planned to quietly bring Zhao Yo to see him. Unexpectedly, Juan Ao's parents suddenly turned back. Hui Young hurriedly hid by the side with Zhao Yo, but overheard Juan Ao's father say, and confused, "No." These words hurt the inferiority and cowardice of the trick. He didn't want to see Juan Ao shining like a star become dim because of him. 2 South. The more he likes Juan Ao, the more afraid he is of losing. Chong promised, this is the first and last time Zhao Yo confessed to Juan Ao. Since then, Zhao Yo broke up with Juan Ao ruthlessly and downloaded the love shield that can hide his sincerity. Juan Ao found it hard to accept Zhao Ru's cold attitude, and he made a fuss in the cafeteria regardless of his image. The Emperor's Tadog and Juan Ao opened up the person in love with Zhao Ru here. Juan Ao was extremely sad, and he humbly asked Zhao Ru to like him again. Haiyang, who was on the side, couldn't stand it anymore and took Juan Ao away, but Juan Ao was still unwilling to give up. He tried everything to make Zhao Ru change his mind. He waited at the intersection every day for Zhao Ru, waiting from summer to winter, but Zhao Ru was always indifferent. Showing off was completely disheartened, and he flew away in anger and left this place that made him sad. One day, a few years later, Xiao Ru accidentally discovered that his ex, who had been thinking about it day and night for 4 years, had appeared in front of him. Zhuan Nao, who was young and cute during the campus period, was different. Now she had become mature and indifferent, and she mustered up the courage to walk toward Zhuan Nao. But Zhuan Nao didn't notice her at all. The two passed each other like this, but years of tearing still made her unable to help but look back, only to see a yellow-haired girl throw herself into Joanna's arms. After 4 years of meeting again, Zhu Ao had a new girlfriend. Zhu Ao would patiently accompany his girlfriend Xiao Yu to visit the store he opened, and would pamper his head, but he had never knocked on his girlfriend's love. Although Xiao Yu was very disappointed in his heart, he never showed it. As long as Zhou Nao was willing to be with him, he was satisfied. Xiao Yu wanted to eat the fish cakes from the roadside stall. He happily ran over, but found that he forgot to show off the change so fiercely. He always looked at Xiao Yu silently in the same place. He took out his mobile phone and found that his love Zero was woken up by him. The freshly baked fish cakes are very hot, and showing off will gently break them apart for him to cool. Showing off is not as good as unloading love, but Xiao Yu is unwilling. Dad asked, but in fact, Xuan Ao has never been able to forget the trick. While driving at a traffic light, Xuan Ao just accidentally saw a high school student who was in love, and his thoughts were pulled back to those sweet and beautiful times between himself and Xiao 4 years ago. Xiao Yu on the side also discovered her boyfriend's mind, but chose to remain silent. He searched for Xiao Yu's information and knew that this was the girl who was worthy of being arrogant, but he didn't know that he was actually being quietly watched. Xiao jumped in the library and found Weiyang's figure. Afraid of embarrassment, he quickly hid on purpose, but he was still blocked when he left. Xiao Dao watched Huiyang leave in confusion. Since then, he often felt Huiyang's hot love. He would help himself sit in the library and buy himself warm coffee. Huiyang directly expressed his feelings to Zhao Tao. After leaving, he was happy like a big fool, because he could finally pursue the girl he liked boldly. He needed to see that his good brother had someone he liked, so he asked him who he was. After seeing Huiyang's expression, Xiao Dao was finally willing to try to accept members soon after 2007. They went on a happy date together. After returning home, Xiao Dao unexpectedly found that showing off was waiting for him. Xuan Ao opened the courtship ceremony again, and after 4 years he could still ring Xiaoru. Xuan Ao still liked Xiaoru, and he also believed that Xiaoru had never forgotten himself. In love, but Xiaoru rejected his intention again. He didn't understand why Xiaoru could try to like him, but couldn't like him again. Gao Qiao had no choice but to keep apologizing. The next day, Zhuan Ao and Haiyang had a big fight, and he couldn't tolerate his best brother treating him like this. Zhuan Ao's love spirit was suddenly knocked, and it turned out that his girlfriend Xiao Yu was here. At the dinner table, his mother liked Xiao Yu very much, but Zhuan Ao's attitude was very indifferent, and Xiao Yu was in a very low mood. He accidentally found Zhuan Ao's high school graduation certificate and saw the girl named Jin Xiao, and immediately understood that this was what Zhuan Ao had been thinking about all along. On this day, Zhuan Ao and Xiao Yu participated in the press conference of Love Forest. As a model couple, to Zhuan Ao's surprise, Xiao Zhao also came. After 4 years, he still rang Xiaoru's love. Xiao Yu looked at Zhuan Ao with disappointment in his eyes. At this time, Huiyang, who rushed over, also rang Xiaoru's love. Faced with the two of them, Xiaoru was completely caught in a dilemma. On this day, Zhuan Ao accidentally heard Xiaoru chatting with the developer of Love Forest. Xiaoru said that he used a shield to hide his love for Zhuan Ao 4 years ago, and now he wants to untie the shield and face his sincerity. My butt is not suitable for touching farts, don't Bob Snipka, 07 South. Xiaoru was very frustrated, and suddenly someone dragged him away, showing off as a fraud. 4 years ago, he couldn't ring Xiaoru's love no matter what. He thought Xiaoru didn't love him anymore, but he didn't expect Xiaoru to use a shield and this 5-bone. A shield made the two miss for years. The secret of the shield was exposed, and Xiaoru was speechless. Zhuan Ao asked angrily, "What about the developer of Love Zero, Ruanu? You have seen me die of infatuation," and decided to recover on Zhaoyou facing Zhuan Ao 7. 5 South. He went to the classroom to find Zhaoyou and also sounded his top talent in love in public, and fell in love with an ordinary woman. The students were all shocked and took pictures to record, which stimulated the inferiority and cowardice. He was so afraid of people's eyes and ridicule that he skipped class. At the same time, Hyung also saw the video. He punched Juanao with anger. "The hair on her hair is amazing together, and we go out to play with you on an equal footing. When we go out to play, it's the person from Harbin, Tibet." The poor man didn't understand it. The one in the mountains scolded him, "Hey, you can have a tower," and he took that car. The ex who loved him for 4 years actually fell in love with his childhood sweetheart. Zhuan Ao was going crazy. Last night, Zhuan Ao had a complete epiphany after listening to the words of his friends. He found Xiao Jump and apologized for ignoring Xiao Jump's feelings all these years, but he firmly believed that Xiao Jump still loved him, but Xiao Jump said that the two broke up because of love. Gao Jump didn't want to see the powerful Zhuan Ao become so humble for him. He couldn't bear the heartache and told Zhuan Ao that he had fallen in love with his friends. Zhuan Ao's heart was twisted like a knife, and his eyes were red. On the other side, Xiao Yu saw the video of Zhuan Ao looking for Zhao Jump, and couldn't help but collapse in pain. He decided to fly away and complete Zhuan Ao and Zhao Jump. Before leaving, he came to see Zhao Jump for the last time, but he didn't expect Zhuan Ao to come to Zhuan Ao. Got off the bus and rang Zhao Jump's love, which made Xiao Yu extremely lost. At this time, Huang also came to Zhao Jump, but he didn't expect the love spirit to be suddenly rang. It turned out that Zhao Jump really fell in love with the member, and Zhuan Ao was completely heartbroken. At night, Zhuan Ao remembered the sweetness of his relationship with Zhao at this time. Hui Yang suddenly told Zhuan Ao an amazing secret. The person who can ring Hui Yang's love is because the developer gave him the person Mao. Mao can decide whose love he wants to ring. Hui Yang felt very ridiculous. He thought that Zhao Ru fell in love with him, but he didn't expect that Zhao Ru was just using him. Zhuan Ao, who learned the truth, found Zhao Ru again. He would no longer ignore Zhao Ru's feelings. He was willing to understand his inferiority complex and maintain his self-esteem. Walking on the familiar campus road, the two remembered the happy days when they were dating in high school. Now that they have become mature and stable, why are they less brave and fearless in their youth? The always low self-esteem, Xiao Ru decided to be brave for Zhuai now once. He took the initiative to hold Zhuaina's hand, and the two received a long kiss, as if to kiss back all the days missed in the past 4 years.